The best pieces of magic, just like the best stories, have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And seeing as we're at the end of my Britain's Got Talent journey, I thought I would tell you about my beginnings in magic. And it all began with a story that my grandfather told me about his childhood growing up as he did in India. Now the story begins like any good story a grandfather might tell a grandson. He said, "Ben, first I will require your imagination." So I gave him my imagination. He said, "Ben, when I was about your age, we witnessed the heaviest monsoon season in 1,000 years, where the raindrops were so big they were the size of mangoes, and the streets had all turned to rivers. One day, when I was sheltering beneath a canopy, I met a traveling magician, and he did something truly impossible. Something so impossible you will hardly believe me when I tell you, because I can hardly believe it myself. He had a fan of playing cards, and he waved his hand in front of the cards, and the cards appeared to shrink. Now, I can't tell you now exactly whether the cards shrank or whether maybe his hands just grew, but they did appear to be smaller. And he waves his hands again, and now they're just the size of rose petals. And he waves his hands again, and now they're just the size of blossom. And one at a time, the hair stands up on the back of my neck. He waves his hands again, and now they're just the size of grains of rice, and then sand, and then just dust, and then atoms that he sprinkles into the rising floodwater. And before I get a chance to look back, he has disappeared off into the rain. Now, this story had such a huge impact on a young me getting into magic. I was so taken by it because it was so vivid in my imagination. Now, in order for me to share that with you, you'd have thought I'd need big Hollywood special effects. But it turns out all I will require are your imaginations. It's monsoon season.
So good. Oh, you're magical.
Thank you so much.
Ben, I felt hypnotized by your storytelling. Every time we see you, you just get better and better. There's just something about you. I mean, you have magic eyes. And she loves you. We love you. And I think you're in with a real chance. What more can I say? That was just really special. Well done, Ben.
You're absolutely right. There is just this air, that's like your otherworldly air about you. You feel really ethereal and properly magic. And I hang on to your every word, and you're so professional and so slick the way you do everything. I mean, I just think you've got a huge, huge future. It was a joy to watch. Absolutely brilliant.
Ben, I will say, which is rare, that you are one of a small number who has got better and better from your audition through the live shows. True. And what really impressed me about you tonight was your first audition was massive, huge props, everything else. And actually, this was minute, literally. But it was the way you told the story, and the fact that you decided to do it that way rather than being flashy, I think has really worked, because you had a connection with the viewers. Your presentation is amazing. I don't know why you haven't had this break, but I have a feeling things are really going to change, because you're an act genuinely made for Vegas and TV. You work on both, so this is great.
You made those cards look smaller. You've made Ant and Dec look smaller just by standing next to them. But I think what it is the tricks are done incredibly, but it's like you are like the living embodiment of magic. There's something so magical about you. So, you did great.